Welcome into Seahawks Today Live, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Thanks for spending part of your Wednesday afternoon with us. We have a big show on tap today. Coming up in just a few moments, we'll get to the latest Seattle Seahawks news and rumors, those on the possibility of trading for Josh Allen. Yes, you heard that right. We're talking about trading for the one and only Josh Allen today, the one from the Jacksonville Jaguars, that is. We'll dive into that. Also, we have not one, but two mailbags to get to in just a bit. Also, we have some free agent predictions for your Seattle Seahawks and some big names involved who ESPN and Pro Football Focus think will be putting on a Seahawks uniform next year. We'll dive into all of that and more coming up in just a few minutes. This is our build-up portion of the show where we encourage you guys to chime in, get in the chat, leave your comments. We'll shout you guys out. Tell us where you're watching from, and we'll put you on screen and get you out there. Shout out your city. Let us know. We are in the Chat Sports Studios here in Dallas, Texas. I am back after a few days in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Came back with a to Daytona.
I flew this time. Came back with a little tan on me, so that might be why I'm a little darker. But nonetheless, had a good time. Jeremy Chugg's in the house today. Chugsy,
you have that nice.
You got the red memo today.
Yeah, I did. Some people might say this is A&M maroon. I don't know. I think it's more of a pink. I don't know. What do you think, Tyler?
I like it either way. I think it's a maroon color. Yeah.
Dat Fat Rat, what's up, my guy? And AFX Apocalypse, I did see, and the backstory behind that, a little Chat Sports behind the scenes. Matthew Petey as we like to call him,
yes,
has a bet with another person in this office that Stetson Bennett will not get drafted. So that's why you might see some hate coming from Matthew Peterson about Stetson Bennett.
I'm not a Stetson Bennett fan.
I think he's going to get drafted, though.
But I think he's going to get drafted. Yeah.
I think he's going to get
There's 7 rounds in the draft.
Joe is from Medical Lake, Washington.
Real quick, your audio might be hot. You're coming in a little
coming a little
raggedy in my ear.
Is that better?
That's better, yeah.
A little hot, too hot to handle?
So I guess. Michael is in Santa Maria, California.
Hey.
That Fat Rat says Uncle Chug's fire. Josh says, hey, from Seattle.
The other Michael from Seattle.
Yes. Alexis, I'm watching from Stickney, South Dakota. Okay, very nice. Joe
AFX
is
Apocalypse. I hope to God that happens. If the Browns draft Stetson Bennett and Petey has to do a cut on Stetson Bennett, best thing ever.
That'd be beautiful. Michael's from Seattle. Troy checking in from San Antonio.
Oh, big Brahmas fan.
Yeah. Did the Brahmas win this weekend?
And Stoney.
Are we a Dragons channel now?
Stoney. No need to hate. You know why? Because we're not even the ones who came up with the story. It was Bleacher Report.
Stoney. Yeah. We're talking about Josh Allen from the Jags. Not that Josh Allen. Stoney. Are you paying attention here? Did you look at the thumbnail on screen? We didn't trick you here. We said Josh Allen.
And it's not even from us. It's from Bleacher Report.
Right, it's from Bleacher Report.
Hey, chill out, Stoney.
Let's see. Blaze checks in from El Paso. Zach says trade Drew Lock in a future 7th for King Henry. Beast Mode checking in from Savannah, Georgia. Let's see. Hunter checking in from SpaceX, California. Stoney.
Nice.
Calm the F down, my guy.
And now, Stoney, this is more of a question for you then.
He says, sorry, I'm stoned.
I get that.
I understand now.
So, Stoney, let me know. What's a player that you want the Seahawks to get in free agency? Or, I mean, I guess you're already in your own mind right now. A player that they could trade for. Who are you thinking?
How about you, Chugs? I got names that I'm going to get to later, but I want to start with you. Who comes to mind?
You know, everybody, the hot name everybody's interested in. Javon Hargrave. And Seattle has a huge need on the defensive line.
We're going to talk about him later.
But I think there might be some cheaper options the Seahawks can get to fortify the defensive line. I really like Dalvin Tomlinson. I also, Javon Hargrave is good. we have another guy, another Allen, that could go to Seattle that I really didn't think of, but once we were building the show, I was like, that might be a good fit.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's check in on the chat. Everyone's telling Stoney to calm down and behave himself. Stay off the weed.
Stay off the weed.
Duh. Let's see. Beast Mode says, yeah, I really hope Carter falls to us. Stoney is really on something today. He says Joe Namath. Okay. Stoney, you're something else. James checking in from Pittsburgh. Thank you. Troy says Josh Allen better than Josh Allen in my opinion. Let's see.
Deron Payne. I see a couple Deron Paynes in there.
Deron Payne. AFX Apocalypse says Josh Allen is Josh Allen's daddy.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, just talking about Josh Allen has made for an interesting discussion so far, and we haven't even technically began the show yet. Who is the best Seahawks player of all time? What say you guys? If you had to chime in the chat right now.
Sean Alexander.
Sean Alexander's a good answer. Steve Largent's a good answer.
I just loved Sean Alexander because that's whenever I first started really getting into football, is whenever he was amazing. And I just remember, one, him being on the Madden cover. Two,
Yeah.
I remember Sean Alexander, I was watching Nickelodeon, and they did this whole thing on he eats a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs before every game.
Man, that 2005 season was just incredible.
Sean Alexander was legit.
Let's see.
Bam
Alexis
Bam.
says Steve Largent. Michael says Bam Bam. Let's see. Jeffrey says Kennedy. Joe is starting his own channel. Okay, cool. Congrats, Joe. He wants to have us on. Might be able to do that. Let's see. P says Derek Ferner. Joe says Max Strong. Stoney says Jim Zorn. All right, Stoney finally gave us an answer that didn't make him look so stoned. Although it's not necessarily the correct answer, but not
Dwayne
terrible.
Eskridge?
Dwayne Eskridge.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Book says Earl Thomas. What do you think he and his brother are doing right now?
I have no idea.
I don't want to know. Michael says, unfortunately, Cam's career was cut too short.
Real talk.
Blaze says Cortez Kennedy. Dat Fat Rat agrees with you, Sean Alexander.
Telling you.
Some very good answers there in the chat of who is the best Seahawks player of all time. Stoney says, I went to Eastern Washington when the Seahawks trained there in 1980, met every one of the Seahawks.
It could have been Hasselback if he didn't throw that pick after saying,
we want the ball and we're going to score. Alexis, what do you have against Sean Alexander? Did Sean Alexander used to date Alexis and dumped her back in the day?
I don't know. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Alexis, tell us about you and Sean Alexander's history.
Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to
Should we
get on
show
our
them the
mailbags.
Super Chat menu too?
Yeah.
2 mailbags today, not 1 but 2. And if you Super Chat us, then you can get to the front of the line quicker than anyone else. I believe we have some new people I haven't seen before today. So this is how you can interact with the show. This is the only way that we're guaranteed to be able to see your comments and throw you on screen is if you Super Chat us. Any Super Chat gets a shout out. $2, you can ask me or Jeremy Chugs anything. Whatever is on your mind, you guys can send us our way. It doesn't even have to be Seahawks related. $5 will sing the DK song. $10 we'll take a shot. I have my fireball in hand ready to go.
Fire Beezy.
And then $150 we will take down Das Boot. We have to get $150 collectively. So it doesn't mean that one person has to send in $150. It says a group. We get to $150, we'll do a boot, 3 beers in once, and $100 gets you a spot on the Boot Hall of Fame. We introduced this new boot, and I got 3 members in the Boot Hall of Fame so far. I need more than that. I would love to see some new members in the Boot Hall of Fame. So that is what we're offering today. So we are just about set to get started, but we need you guys' help to start the show. I'm at 14 likes right now. I got 52 people watching.
Tesla's going live. Stoney, should we just change our title to Tesla News?
Tesla news. Talk about some cars, some EVs. I got to tell you, I drove an EV for the first time this past weekend at Daytona. Not necessarily my thing. I'm a gas guy.
It's crazy because Teslas, they don't idle.
Yeah.
Whenever your foot's off the brake, they don't go. You actually have to hit the gas. It's weird.
It is.
I guess not the gas. What do you call it?
I guess what do you call it then? Great question. Let's see. Alexis, I got your super chat. Just type the question. Okay.
That's nice of you.
That is very nice of you. Blaze, this is not that type of show.
And guys, you might not have money to super chat right now, but you know what you can do? You can like the video.
Okay, true. I just see you jump in with that comment. Josh Allen, let me reiterate. Did you look at the thumbnail? We're talking about that Josh Allen, not the Bills Josh Allen. Okay? Let's make that clear. We will get into that here in just a second. Goodness, people. I feel like we're at 20 likes right now. 10 more, we'll start the show, and I'll take a shot to make matters better. But I need 10 more likes. Got 54 people watching. Get me 10 more likes. We'll get started here in just a bit. Coming up, Seahawks news and rumors. Going to be talking about the idea of trading for Josh Allen. Not that Josh Allen, but the Jags Josh Allen. How many times are you going to make me say this today, people? Goodness. We'll do 2 live Q&A mailbags. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbags. And we also have free agent predictions. Who does PFF and ESPN say is going to end up in a Seahawks uniform this upcoming offseason when we get towards free agency? We will dive into all of that and more in just a moment. Alexis says, I want to like it but can't figure it out because I'm on my stupid phone. Just, you guys are smart. Just scroll and you'll find that like button. Yeah, hit the thumbs up icon. You'll find it there eventually. 2 more likes and then I'll take a shot and we'll officially get the show on the road here for this Wednesday afternoon on Seahawks Today Live. Who are my 2 likers out there? Who's going to get that job done? Alexis and let's see. Troy, Josh Allen. Heck no. What, Josh? What, Troy? We're talking about the better Josh Allen, not the Bills Josh Allen. My goodness, how many times am I going to have to say this today? Damn it. God damn it, people. All right. So we got the 30 likes, so I'll take a shot. And then we have a super chat come in from Elijah here. Straight from the bottle today, because why not? Are we going to get to Elijah's super chat after the cut? Okay, we can do it right now, real quick. Elijah says, how much farther do we think we can get next year? Chugsy, Seahawks got eliminated in the wild card round, but I see a lot of potential of looking at this roster of where they can go from here. And what we're going to talk about today with Josh Allen of the Jags, okay? How many times I have to say this? 100 times for people in the chat. If they get a guy like Josh Allen from the Jags or potentially some guys in free agency, trades, whatever, and build up that defense, I think they can be one of the top 3 teams in the NFC potentially. I think the NFC, yeah, it's weak. The Niners are still good. The Eagles are still good. But watch out to me. That's what I'm looking for, Elijah, is to me that's what I think when you talk ceiling-wise, that's the next step this team can take. I think that's reasonable, right? They can be top 3 in the NFC next year.
Oh, yeah. I think that's easily attainable.
Yes. AFX Apocalypse. We've already been over this. It's the Jags Josh Allen, not the Bills Josh Allen. Oh, Kyle with a $10 super chat. Let's see what Kyle has to say. And we'll answer that real quick, and then we'll get started with the show. You guys already getting in on the super chat game. You'll love to see it. You keep saying we should dodge a quarterback in this year's draft because next year's class is QB heavy. Do you think we are even going to be in position like we are this year to get a good quarterback next year? If you trade back, then you can pocket a pick for next year's draft. That's what I'm looking at. No, I don't think that they're going to be in position to get one of those top quarterbacks in next year's draft, that they are going to be too good. But if you trade back, then you can pocket that pick for next year and go from there. Or next year you could trade a pick from the year following and find ways to move up. So there's always ways to work the system and trade up. So, Kyle, I see what you mean there. Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud I like, but the other quarterbacks beyond that I'm not a huge fan of. personally. So that's what I'm looking at as far as that goes. AFX, I see you use the hashtag Seahawks. So did Singing. Use that hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. You guys can get on the mailbag that we'll do later. But right now, let's go ahead and get to our first segment as we have the latest Seattle Seahawks news and rumors. Welcome in to Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. Coming up on today's show, we have the latest Seattle Seahawks news and rumors. Those involve the Seahawks trading for Josh Allen. Yes, that Josh Allen. The one that was a first-round pick from the Jacksonville Jaguars. That Josh Allen. We'll talk about that and what it would take to get the job done in just a moment. Before we do that, though, I want you guys to get rowdy in the comments section and name a player you think the Seahawks should trade for this year. Who comes to mind that you'd like to see in the Seahawks uniform in 2023? Let us know in the comments section. We'll get started with today's show. Bleacher Report is suggesting that the Seahawks trade for the Jags pass rusher, Josh Allen. And Josh Allen has had a very good career to this point in time. And you look at his production, still relatively young. He's going into that coveted fifth year in this Seahawks team. They have a few good defensive players. But if you add a guy like Josh Allen, watch out. You could be taking a huge step up potentially with what he brings to the table. Here is what Alex Ballantyne had to say about the possibility of trading for Josh Allen. Much like the Eagles needed Hassan Reddick to unlock the potential of the rest of their pass rushers, the Seahawks could use one more pass rusher to push the group into the elite category. Josh Allen could be that missing piece. He's entering the final year of his contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's due $10.9 million. If the Jaguars aren't interested in giving him a long-term deal, they might be willing to part with him for a first-round pick. The defense has a stud at linebacker in Jordan Brooks. Tariq Woolen looked like a star as a rookie. And Jamal Adams is a unique weapon at safety, putting a deep and talented crew in front of them who can get after the quarterback is the recipe for an elite defense. I like all of that right there, what Ballantyne just presented, with trading that number 20 selection to get a player like Josh Allen. To me, that makes sense. And so what we'll do is, looking at this trade option, I got to tell you personally, I love this trade idea by the Seahawks to go this route. I mean, you think about that 20th pick. This is not how you're giving up. You're not giving up the number 5 overall pick. That's obviously the better of the two picks here. And so you still get to get the guy you want, the elite player at 5. And then you give up 20 here. Here's the way to think about this, okay? Let me put this in simple terms for you. You are unlikely to find a better player. It's unlikely anyway, not saying it's impossible, but it's unlikely you're going to find a better player with the number 20 overall selection than you would for making the trade for Josh Allen. Now, granted, you don't get the benefits of the rookie contract with Josh Allen as opposed to whoever you'd be drafting at 20. You'd likely extend Josh Allen, give him a longer deal after this fifth-year option. But nonetheless, he's probably better than most players that are going to be available at that point in time. So for me, I like this idea of making this trade to give up the 20th pick, not the 5th pick, and bring in Josh Allen. Sign me up. I would make this trade personally. What say you? Should the Seahawks, if they are in this position, if they can get this done with Jacksonville, should they trade for Josh Allen? This is our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Get your votes in. Y for yes, in for no, if you think the Seahawks should trade for Josh Allen or not. Now, let's look at the defensive line depth chart here for your Seattle Seahawks, and then we'll follow that up with the outside linebackers look. And as you can see, Poona Ford, of course, he's going to be a free agent. LJ Collier is going to go into free agency, and there's big question marks there with that defensive line group of necessarily of who they're even going to bring back to those spots. You look at the outside linebacker positions, and Bruce was really good coming in mid-season last year, but obviously he's an older player. Boye Mafe has some room for improvement. Uchenna Nwosu was solid, and Darrell Taylor was inconsistent. No question, Josh Allen would come in and start right away, and whether you play him at D-end or outside linebacker, whatever the fit is in this Seahawks scheme, he would be an instant impact player and would have a role right away with this Seahawks roster. They would find a way to make this work. So that's one of the things I like is that you come in, you bring him into the fold, and bam, you're talking about an impact player that's going to have a spot right here on this team from the jump, and there's no competition or anything. That's his job. More on this potential trade in a second. Before we do, folks, we're offering a great deal on Seahawks shirts right now. Look, we all know the Seahawks are going to bring back the throwback scheme in 2020, and so you might as well get ahead of the curve and get these while supplies last. We have these shirt combinations you can see of the old school days in the T-shirt and the long sleeve, on sale now for over 25% off. It is a great deal while supplies last. So what are you waiting for? Get yours today at chatsports.com/Seahawks combo. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks combo. Just over 25% off. It is a great deal while supplies last. You're going to be rocking out with your flock out, and get yours today, and you'll be glad you did. You'll be looking good. You feel good. You'll play good as well. Chatsports.com/Seahawks combo. The numbers from Josh Allen of the last 4 seasons, you can see that other than that year in 2020 where he was injured, he's been very solid for the most part in those 4 seasons. His rookie year where he made a Pro Bowl, he had 10.5 sacks and 44 tackles. 2020, we mentioned a down year, 2.5 sacks and 13 tackles. But 2022 and 2021, he had 7+ tackles both those years. 11 tackles for loss last year, 12 the year prior, 71 in 2021, and 2022 had 57 tackles. And you could argue he hasn't even reached his ceiling yet. The nerds at Pro Football Focus really like what they've seen from Josh Allen. The numbers there are even better than the numbers that we show you statistically. The overall grade near an 83 for Josh Allen. The run defense grade at 82.5. And think about this. What have we talked a lot about for this Seattle Seahawks team over the last several months was how pitiful the Seahawks were in run defense. All of a sudden, not only are you getting a pretty decent pass rusher and Josh Allen with a 79.4 grade, but you're getting a really good run defender. And so you're filling 2 needs at once, essentially. The stats we showed you there, the 4 forced fumbles also stand out as well. To me, I like everything that I've seen from Josh Allen. This seems to be a really good fit. It's just a matter of, do you want to trade that pick at 20 or not? If that's all it comes down to for me, if the Jags say, look, you can have him and all you have to give up is the 20, but all you're getting is Josh Allen. Just 1-for-1 deal right there. Sign me up. I'm getting that trade. I'm going to get it done, and that's going to be the deal we make. What say you, though? Would you do the same thing? Would you trade the 20th pick straight up for Josh Allen? Should they trade the 20th pick, whether it's for Josh or for another player for that matter? If you think they should, type T for trade. If not, type P for pass. Let me know what you think. Should the Seahawks trade the 20th overall pick? T for trade, P for pass. The background on Josh Allen, we mentioned he was a Pro Bowler back in 2019, and this year, that 5th-year option that he's owed is about $10.89 million. Remember, you still have to pay Geno Smith his new money, which we're still trying to figure out what exactly that will be. But this is a guy that's been a highly sought-after player for quite some time. You go back to 2019, he was a first-round pick there at the University of Kentucky and followed that up with a Pro Bowl selection. So for me, I like everything that adds up here. I'm not scared of the $11 million. I know that the Jags might be in a situation where they might not want to pay the $11 million, but I don't think that $11 million should scare off the Seahawks here in the long-term contract to follow after that. I think you can still get this done and feel good about your position to get a deal done for Geno Smith. You can't say that about other players on the market, but I think you can about Josh Allen here. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, adding Josh Allen would make the Seahawks an elite defense. Remember, you get Jamal Adams back. And Tariq Woolen, we know, is going to be really good, and I think he's going to take another step up. Kobe Bryant's going to take a step up. To me, I think you would, as a whole, go from 0 to 100 real quick if you add Josh Allen to that mix. And it's even catching the eye of people in Jacksonville. Carlos Sanchez, who writes for Black and Teal, covering the Jacksonville Jags, talked about this possibility, and even he acknowledged how good this would be for the Seahawks, saying the Seahawks wouldn't probably mind parting ways with a first-round selection to land Allen. All things considered, it would be a relatively small price to pay to upgrade their pass rush, as he would join a group that already includes Uchenna Nwosu and Darrell Taylor, who registered 19 sacks last season. So, get the hashtags out, do whatever you need to do. Let's get Josh Allen to Seattle. Yes, this Josh Allen, not the other Josh Allen. No, we want this Josh Allen in Seattle next year. With that 20th selection, I don't think that you're too upset about getting rid of that 20th pick when you already have a top 5 pick. To me, this makes a lot of sense. Seahawks defense isn't that great right now. Josh Allen can help take this group up another step. So, grade the Seahawks defense right now. Before a potential trade or any draft picks they could make, how would you grade this group? Let me know in the comments section. Type A, B, C, D, or F. What do you think about the possibility of the Seahawks defense, where they stand right now? How would you grade it? Let me know in the comments section below. You can also interact with me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Seattle Seahawks there. And I'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today. Okay, so Josh Allen, what do you guys think? I have laid out the case. I think they should do it. I'm all in. If that is the scenario, as Bleacher Report lays out, that 20th pick, straight up, you followed me there, Jeremy? Yeah. If that is the scenario, yes, sign me up. I'm in. Jeremy, that scenario, I don't think you should complain about at all.
No. The only thing with that is, which luckily I don't think Geno's going to be asking for, the moon and the stars in his next contract. I think you'll be able to get him. He's going to ask for a decent amount, but it's not going to be in the $45, $50 million a year range. He'd be crazy if he thought that.
Right.
I mean, Daniel Jones he's smoking whatever stone he's smoking. But I think if you're able to trade for him, the biggest thing will be what does he want in a contract. But I don't think that'll be a huge deterrent for the Seahawks because they have Geno Smith, and they're looking at the possibility of drafting a younger quarterback next year. So you're going to have a quarterback on a rookie deal. So your quarterback position usually takes a ton of your cap space.
Right.
That's not the case for the Seahawks. So if they can build the defense, they can build around whatever quarterback they're going to bring in, or if they have Geno Smith for the next couple of years, they need to use that to their advantage.
Right. Well,
I mean, you see what the Eagles did this year. They had Jalen Hurts on a rookie contract. That's not going to be the same moving forward. Jalen Hurts on a rookie contract. They were able to sign Javon Hargrave, James Bradbury, multiple guys, Hassan Reddick, A.J. Brown do a longer deal. They were able to sign and get a bunch of guys in free agency to help put a good team around Jalen Hurts.
Now, let me circle back to something that I talked about as far as that 20th pick goes. Jeremy, you've been following this draft and the prospects that are available there at 20 and everything. What do you think about what I said? Do you agree with you are not likely to find somebody better than Josh Allen with that 20th pick anyway?
I mean, it's one in the hand, two in the bush. You know what that phrase is, right?
You've
heard it? Yeah. K-Soon, what do you mean? They're going to bring back Geno this year. If you don't think so, you might be on crack. They're going to bring back Geno this year.
They are.
I bet you they do not draft a quarterback in this year's draft.
If they do, it's going to be a late round guy. It's not going to be a top pick, I don't think.
I think Geno stays.
Yeah, I think Geno's back.
I mean, he played well last year. He has the rapport there. And I don't know. I mean, unless Snyder, which honestly, I trust the Seahawks front office to draft.
Yeah.
I trust them. But I really don't see them going out on a limb and getting Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. I don't, and they're not going to get the two top guys. C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, I'm convinced they're going 1-2. Bears are trading out of the first pick. Texans are getting a quarterback, I think.
Yeah, I think Texans are getting a quarterback.
So unless you're trading up to 1, I don't see that happen.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And to the money part, I don't think Geno is going to be, asking for $50 million a year. He'd be crazy to. I think he asks for around the range of $40 million.
I think they'd franchise tag him if they have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And I believe the franchise tag quarterback number is going to be around 40. Yeah, I think if they have to, they'll franchise tag.
Well, you know what? And guys, if y'all disagree with me, or if you disagree with Tyler, this is the perfect time to get your questions in. #Seahawks to get on the mailbag. Elijah, you are going to start off.
Elijah, come forth. You will be at the front of the mailbag that we'll get to here in just a minute. If you got a question you want us to answer, we will react to it in just a few moments from right now. We had a couple super chats. Were those $5 super chats?
Yes.
So we'll get to those in the mailbag.
Yeah. And you want to sing him a DK song one time?
Yeah, we could sing them the DK song.
1, 2, 3.
Chomping, carols chomping, Geno passes, no one stopping. DK, touchdowns all day, he rules. For people that may be new to the show, do you know what that song's based off of? Let us know in the comments section. Let's show them the super chat menu too, in case you guys are just now getting here. We got over 100 people watching right now. Any super chat equals shout out $2. You can ask me or Jeremy Chugs anything. $5, we'll sing the DK song as many times as you guys would like. $10 to take a shot, $150 to touch down the boot. We're $20 in so far. We're $130 away from Das Boot. $100 in super chats, and you get a spot on the Boot Hall of Fame there. Book says, shout out Chugs and Ty Man, always keeping us up to date. Book, salute to you. Thanks for sending that in.
All right, guys. We need some more questions. So #Seahawks in the comments section, just like K-Su Soon did whenever he asked if I'm on crack.
K-Su Soon says, I'll super chat to stop more singing. You pay us enough, we could stop singing the DK song too. But we love the DK song.
Possibility.
Because we love DK here.
All right, you ready,
How could you
Tyler?
not? Let me pull up my script here, update it. All right, I'm good to go. #super chat or
Nope.
#super chat. #Seahawks or super chat to get on the mailbag. Jeffrey says DK drug testing. We said he rules. Did you see that dunk the other night?
Oh yeah.
No wonder he got drug tested.
Did you see the one-handed catch?
Yeah.
Totally real.
Jeremy Chugs, everybody. Round of applause.
All right, you ready?
AFX says, is the DK song the BK song?
Yes.
Yes, it is. All right. Mailbag time. Get your questions in, and we'll get started here. It is mailbag time here on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you as I will answer whatever questions you guys have. This comes from our live shows that we do on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. If you subscribe to the channel, then you will be alerted, if you have notifications on, when we go live. And so you can be the first to know when we're talking about your favorite team and send your questions in to be a part of our mailbag shows. Doesn't cost you a thing. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. We're closing in on 35,000 subscribers. Need your help to get there. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. Elijah checking in with a super chat of $5 says, how much farther do we think we can get next year? Great question, Elijah. To me, I look at it this way. I think when you factor in the draft picks the Seahawks are about to have this upcoming year, which is like 9 or 10 picks, okay, and the guys that are developing, and then the potential for moves that they could make, whether it be trades or free agency, the opportunity to better their roster with the way the rest of the NFC stacks up, I think the Seahawks I don't think it's a hot take to say that they can be a top 3 team in the NFC next year. I think that's a realistic possibility. I think the Eagles are going to be good. I think the Niners are going to be good. And I think the Seahawks can be right there with those 3. Beyond that, let's just take it one step at a time. But I really like where this Seahawks team can go in 2023, Elijah. A $10 super chat from Kyle says, you keep saying we should dodge a quarterback in this year's draft because the next draft class is QB heavy. Do you think we are even going to be in a position like we are this year to get a good quarterback next year? Well, think about this. Whether it's the number 5 pick or the number 20 pick, there's always the possibility that you could trade that and get another pick next year. And then you have 2 picks next year, and then you could potentially move up in next year's draft to get the quarterback that you want on that front. So that's a possibility. Also, you could look at trading the future picks potentially to move up. So there's always ways to move up in the draft if there's a guy you like. I mean, you look at next year's class, Caleb Williams and Drake May, they would go above Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud in this year's draft if they were draft eligible. They are that much better. And then you add in guys like Quinn Ewers and some others there. I like next year's class better than I do this year's class. Plus, Geno's coming off a Pro Bowl season where he threw for over 30 touchdowns. Geno's your guy next year. Aiden writes, should the Seahawks sign Jimmy G? Maybe as a backup. So it looks like Jimmy G's days with the Niners are done, that he'll enter free agency. I think Jimmy G could be the best backup in the National Football League. But there are teams that are so desperate at the quarterback position that Jimmy G is going to be starting somewhere next year. I don't know where that is, whether that is the Las Vegas Raiders or the New York Jets or the New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers, just a few teams spitballing off the top of my head. I don't see Jimmy G being a backup. If you're the Seahawks, you like what you have in Geno Smith. You're not going to bench Geno to bring in Jimmy G. That doesn't make any sense. So if he's willing to be a backup, I'd be all ears about bringing in Jimmy G. But I don't think that's the case. I think somebody's going to sign Jimmy G to be their starter. You make the call here on Seahawks Today. Sign Jimmy G. You want to see him in a Seahawks uniform next year. If so, type S for sign. If not, type P for pass. They came awfully close last year to bringing in Jimmy G. Will they do it this time around? Let us know in the comments section. S for sign, P for pass. $5 super chat from Elijah says, Rashad Gary from the Packers. They might be in rebuild mode. Rashad Gary is an interesting proposition. And at the time of this taping on Wednesday, there was a report that came out that Aaron Rodgers was leaning towards coming back to Green Bay, and which would certainly make things interesting as far as the whole rebuild thing, because Aaron said that he didn't want to be a part of a rebuild, and so you would have to think that they were trying to contend at that point. Gary, terrific linebacker there for the Green Bay Packers. He's only 25 years old. I would think that a guy like Gary, it's going to be all dependent, even as a defensive player like Gary is. I think his future is actually probably dependent on what Aaron Rodgers' future is. If Aaron Rodgers is staying, then you keep guys like Gary around and try to build up a contending team. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be there and you get the full-on rebuild, then guys like Gary could be on the chopping block to try to get draft capital and move forth. So it's not a bad idea at all, but at this point, we're kind of just playing the waiting game, see what Aaron Rodgers wants to do. Beast Mode says we should draft Kenny, the running back from Georgia, in the 5th round. He is a great explosive receiving back. That is Kenny McIntosh, by the way, who had close to 700 yards on the ground and 8 touchdowns. Kenny McIntosh was a really nice piece for the Georgia Bulldogs this past season. And I think one of the things that you like about Kenny McIntosh, considerably speaking, compared to other running backs in college football, is that he has somewhat fresh legs of some sorts by only having 123 carries. Remember, they had a nice rotation going, that Georgia Bulldog team, that he's not being worn out. We've seen some guys in the past that had great college careers, but they were overworked so much that they were held back a bit, where they didn't have much left when they got to the National Football League. Kenny McIntosh, still a very fresh player at this point, and you mentioned the receiving ability as well. Yeah, I'm not opposed to Kenny McIntosh at all. K-Soon Soon, who is a hater of the DK song, so sad, writes in. Seahawks, say Bijan is there at 20. Where are both of you on taking him? Jeremy Chuggs, feel free to chime in on this if you want to as well. It's this question, I believe, is for both of us. Bijan, look, I'm not opposed to taking Bijan in the first round with being a generational talent like he is. He's the best running back in the draft since Saquon Barkley. But even then, the Seahawks have a lot of needs to cover, and you already have your running back in the future in Kenneth Walker. I don't think Bijan would be a bad pick, but I don't necessarily think that's the move I would be expecting Seattle to do when they have other things to take care of.
And just like we had the question about McIntosh from Georgia, this draft is loaded at the running back position. I mean, you could even get the other Texas running back later in the 4th or 5th round, Roschon Johnson. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs. You have a multitude of guys who you can take at the running back spot, especially because you're not drafting for a star running back. You're drafting for somebody to be a 1-2 punch with Kenneth Walker.
Right.
If you didn't have Kenneth Walker, I'd say, okay, yeah, go ahead and draft him. You need a running back. Get the best running back in the draft on a rookie deal in the mid-20s. I don't hate that. But the fact that you already have a running back that seems like he can be a workhorse, and maybe you can pair somebody with him, that's not one of your biggest needs for number 20. And I think, as long as your board doesn't fall where everybody that you love is drafted in the first 19 picks. I mean, if that's the case, I would rather even trade back than get Bijan. I think you could maybe trade with the Cowboys or somebody.
Right.
Get some good picks. Maybe.
Yeah, or like we talked about earlier in the week, maybe this is a draft trade situation where a team like the Jags, you trade the pick. I don't know if they necessarily want Bijan with them having a pretty good running back themselves in Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
But just as an example there, like if a guy like, we can trade 20 and go get Josh Allen and somebody else can take Bijan potentially.
Yeah.
If Bijan's around, let's put it this way, Chuggs, it gives you some power, some equity of some sorts where, you could take Bijan potentially, but you could trade out of that and get something for somebody that wants Bijan. So something to think about as far as that possibility goes. But thank you for the question there on the Super Chat there, Elijah. Moving on. We'll get to the next question here. What do you think Brooks will want next year? Elijah, thanks for the $5 Super Chat there. That's a very interesting question because Jordan Brooks torn ACL, right? And so we don't know when he's going to be back next year. He very well could miss all of next season as far as we're concerned because that injury happened so late in the season. So with that said, it's going to be interesting. I don't have a great answer for you here because of that injury factor. Let's put it this way. If Jordan Brooks comes back from injury, is fully healthy, and plays like a madman, just looks great, then I think you're talking about top dollar money for middle linebackers for him. If he doesn't, recover at a speedy rate, and we don't see him play that great, then his value will go down. It all just depends on what he looks like when he comes back from injury there. So that all remains to be seen at this point as far as that goes. Temper Frames wants to know, what players do you like for the Seahawks pick at 5 overall? The draft boards, the mock drafts are kind of all over the place right now as far as how this draft is going to unfold. And if I were to rank the top prospects in this draft, I would start with Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, 1A and 1B, whatever you're feeling there. Bryce Young would probably be next, then C.J. Stroud. And then you go with Tyree Wilson there as the next guy, that number 5 guy. And so if you're the Seahawks, I think you end up in a position where you're happy with one of those guys. I think the odds-on favorite, and I don't have any betting odds to verify this, but just guessing, would be Tyree Wilson at this point in time. If you said, Tyler, you can put X number of dollars down of who the Seahawks pick at number 5 is going to be right now, my prediction would be Tyree Wilson. That's who I think they would choose if the draft were held today. What say you? If the draft were held today, if you were in the Seahawks war room, should the Seahawks draft Tyree Wilson at number 5? If you think they should, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Let me know which way you're feeling. Y for yes, in for no, if the Seahawks should draft Tyree Wilson at 5 or not. AFX Apocalypse says, do you think eventually the Seahawks should trade for Josh Allen so they have a double Allen combo? So we talked about this earlier in the week, that there was a trade proposal out there from Bleacher Report that the Seahawks could trade for Josh Allen, the Jags' Josh Allen, okay? And that makes a lot of sense because Josh Allen is not only a good pass rusher, but he's a very good run stopper. And the Seahawks had an awful run defense in 2022. And so trading for a guy like Josh Allen, that the defensive Josh Allen makes a lot of sense. Now, as far as the other Josh Allen goes, the Bills quarterback, he's a franchise quarterback, top 3 or 4 quarterback in this league. The Bills aren't letting him go. I would one day like to see the Josh Allens play together. I think that'd be funny, but it's not happening in Seattle anytime soon. Corey says, why don't you like Will Levis? He was working with a trash team last year. That is not true. Kentucky was a top 25 team. They were a lot better than what they were, what they've been the last several years. This team's been on the rise, and he took a significant step back. He wasn't the same player that he was the year prior, and he made a lot of mistakes that were self-inflicted. So, Corey, I understand if you fall in love with the measurables on Will Levis. Those things are there. The production value, though, when they played good competition last year, I think in particular, I was watching that Tennessee game in real time, and I'm like, my God, how's this guy not better than this? How is he not holding up his end? I was disappointed. So Will Levis, I'd still like way better than I do Anthony Richardson, but he's not C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. I can tell you that much right now. So for me, it was that he did not live up to the hype. You can blame the team, whatever, but I think that is just a lame excuse as far as I'm concerned, Corey. You can follow me on social media, Twitter, the Gram, and on Facebook, where I'm hanging out with Zuck and Elon and the whole gang on all those social media platforms. At Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Seahawks there. I'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today. All right. 2 segments down, 2 to go. Today is National Margarita Day. I love margaritas, Jeremy Chuggs. I might have to get one after this show tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Which is better, frozen or on the rocks?
That's a good question. Because I made it up.
I had a different question on this, but this is pretty good.
I like frozen.
Good answer. Good answer.
What about you?
I like frozen myself. On the rocks isn't bad. I mean, like if somebody hands me a margarita on the rocks, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
But I do like a frozen margarita best. And I keep it simple. Like, just give me a frozen lime margarita with a little tahini as well. I mean, that really just hits. That is, if you're looking to have a good day, start it with a margarita.
Yeah.
That to me is the right. There's no better way to start the day than a little marg in hand. What about you? What flavor? What are you putting around it? You going tahini, salt, sugar? What's on the rim?
Oh, mango margarita, tahini on the rim.
Okay.
Love it. I love it. And I mean, I actually had a buddy who took a tequila tasting class.
Okay.
And he told me, if you're having a margarita, it doesn't matter what kind of tequila you have in it, because the sweet and sour and the lime basically make them all taste the same.
That's true.
He said if you have really good tequila, never make it into a margarita. You drink good tequila straight up.
So here's the only way that you can really this is something for the folks at home, a little 411. The only way that you can change a margarita and make it somewhat different is instead of tequila, you go mezcal and a little mezcal margarita. That to me, I like mezcal better than I do tequila. That's a game changer. Let's check the chat here. Wayne says, hell no, on the rocks any day and every day. AFX Apocalypse says we should have a bench competition with Raider Mitch and Tyler. I don't know about that. I think Mitch might have me beat there.
Maybe.
Wayne says from scratch only. Reflect the Sun says crushed ice with that sugary stuff on the rim. There. I could go for a marg right now, I can tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle says, I just take my tequila with lime and salt like what Jeremy said. Mr. Kane says, I'm an alcoholic. Haven't had a drink in 15 or 20 years. Stop keeping count. But when I did drink, I would have it on the rocks to avoid the brain freeze. Cheers to you on 15 to 20 years sober. That's awesome. Kyle says, I don't drink cheap tequila. Okay. Reflect the Sun likes a strawberry, let's see. What
Strawberry martini without the olive.
Without the olive. I don't like olives. I understand that.
Right.
We do owe the DK song, and then we'll begin this next segment. The $5 super chat that came in. 1, 2, 3. Chomping, carols chomping. Geno passes, no one stopping. DK. Touchdowns all day. He rules. All right. Let's talk about free agent predictions now. The folks at ESPN and Pro Football Focus put some exciting predictions together for your Seattle Seahawks. We will go over all of them right now here on Seahawks Today. It is Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. Coming up on today's show, ESPN and Pro Football Focus have put out their free agency predictions for your Seattle Seahawks. And I got to tell you, I think you are going to like what they had to say of some players that will be wearing a Seahawks uniform in 2023. We'll get to all that and more in just a second. Before we do, though, now's your chance to be the GM and get things started here on Seahawks Today. Name a player you think the Seahawks should sign in free agency, whether it's just re-signing Geno Smith or another player that's out there. Who comes to mind? Who would you like to see join the Seahawks in 2023? Let us know in the comments section below. So first and foremost, kind of the obvious one here. ESPN and PFF are both predicting the Seahawks will bring Geno Smith back in 2023. That's a deal that just kind of makes sense for all parties involved, whether it's Geno's camp or whether it's the Seahawks side. It all just makes too much sense for him to not be back in Seattle this upcoming year. Even if it takes a franchise tag, I think Geno Smith is going to be back. Now, when it comes to the future, as far as a long-term deal goes or anything like that, those are discussions that can be had. But when it comes to the immediate future in 2023, I think we're all on the same page that Geno Smith is going to be back in Seattle this upcoming season. So with that, of looking at what ESPN and what Pro Football Focus had to say about this possibility, here is what they had to say. It's also an easy fit for Smith and Shane Waldron's offense, where the Seahawks can mix play action, boot concepts, and the drop-back game, utilizing Smith's top targets in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, like you see DK there on your screen. The veteran quarterback sees it fast from the pocket and is very efficient with the football, and I anticipate a 3-year deal for Smith here. That's according to Matt Brown from ESPN. Now, here is what Pro Football Focus had to say. Very similar to what ESPN said. Both the team and player here seem very happy with where negotiations currently stand. And head coach Pete Carroll has made it clear he's excited about the prospect of spending around a quarterback who takes around a more reasonable mid-market deal that enables the club to better surround him with talent. So, here's the thing. Geno wants to be in Seattle, and the Seahawks want him there. This isn't that hard to figure out in this situation here, folks. When you have two sides that want to be there, I think this is all going to work itself out, and that we'll see Geno there. As far as the future goes, when it comes to the long-term contract or anything like that, that remains to be seen. But at least for the present, time in the present, this marriage is going to continue at least another year. I feel pretty good about that. What's your confidence level that Geno re-signs with the Seahawks? For me, it's pretty dang high. If you were to scale it 1 through 100, what would it be? Let us know in the comment section. This is our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. But scale for me 1 through 100, the chances that you think of Geno re-signing with the Seahawks is. So now this is where we start to get a little interesting here, folks. Signing Javon Hargrave. ESPN is suggesting the Seahawks will, in fact, sign the Eagles' defensive tackle. And Hargrave was fantastic this season for the Philadelphia Eagles in their historically good pass rush. This would be a game-changing move if the Seahawks can bring him in. Here's what Matt Brown at ESPN had to say. Coach Pete Carroll of the Seahawks can upgrade the defensive front with Hargrave, adding a disruptive tackle with pass rush juice. This past season, Hargrave notched 11 sacks and 37 tackles in his pass rush win rate of 17.2% when he lined up on the interior, ranked third overall in the NFL. And Seattle's 33.5% pass rush win rate was number 28 last season. Hargrave is slippery off the ball with the upfield burst to attack the pocket, and he can hold a gap in the run game too. Hargrave, hard not to like Javon Hargrave, to say the least. Last season, just an incredible year for him in Philadelphia with 60 tackles, 11 sacks, 10 forced fumbles, 10 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. And think about, he put all those statistics together on a loaded defense, okay? I mean, you know, he was sharing statistics with other guys out there and still had that type of season. Just unbelievable what Hargrave did this past year. You would love to see him in a Seahawks uniform. He's still relatively young. More on these potential free agent options for the Seahawks in a moment. Before we do, we are selling Seahawks hoodies. Yes, folks, it's February. Still relatively cold outside. So get yourself a hoodie. We have them on sale now up to 50% off. Great deal, if you ask me. Whether it's for the guys or the gals, whatever it may be, we got you covered for all Seahawk fans. You can be looking stylish while repping your favorite team at the same time. Hoodies up to 50% off while supplies last. What are you waiting for? Get yours today. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hoodie. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks hoodie. I understand the price tag probably won't be cheap, but I can tell you this right now. Hargrave would be a home run. You would be feeling great if you bring in Javon Hargrave to add to this Seahawks defense. And here's some more on Hargrave here. Joined the Eagles in 2020 after 4 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Philadelphia was so glad they were able to take him away from their arch-rival Pittsburgh Steelers, as it was a Pro Bowl selection in 2021, made an immediate impact, probably should have been a Pro Bowler this year as well. And the career statistics, you're looking at 329 tackles, 37.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 4 fumble recoveries. He was just absolutely outstanding. And, I mean, you look at the D-line of the Seahawks with Shelby Harris at that DN spot, Poona Ford and Al Woods at the nose tackle and D-tackle spots. Poona Ford is going to be a free agent. There is a spot for Javon Hargrave. You slide him in, boom, he's there. You don't necessarily need to bring Poona Ford back. As far as that goes, I think he's taken that spot as far as I'm concerned. So what do you think about Javon Hargrave? I got another name to get to, but let's look at Hargrave first. I've laid the case. I'm in. I want Javon Hargrave in Seattle. Do you like that idea? If you do, type S for sign. If you don't like that idea, if you think that he's too expensive, I understand. Let us know in the comment section. Type P for pass. S for sign, P for pass if the Seahawks should sign Javon Hargrave. Folks, we have daily Seattle Seahawks coverage here on the channel as we are talking about your favorite team each and every day like no one else is. What are you waiting for? Subscribe now for free. Does not cost you a single thing. We're talking trades, free agency, draft, and more. It's all in one place. This is the place to be if you're a member of the 12s. Subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV for more coverage on your Seattle Seahawks. I'm here, our entire team. We're doing everything we can to bring you the best Seahawks coverage on the channel. Subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Now, the next name that we will get to on the list today, the last name is Zach Allen, the defensive lineman from the Arizona Cardinals, according to Pro Football Focus. Now, in the suggestions here, if you go with Zach Allen from Arizona, then you're likely not going to get Javon Hargrave. You're probably not going to bring in both guys. So this is what PFF had to say about Zach Allen. With Puna Ford set to hit free agency, the Seahawks need an injection of youth in their interior defensive line, as both Shelby Harris and Quentin Jefferson are going to be 30 years old when the season starts. The Seahawks need an edge defender, and Allen has had some experience playing outside linebacker in some spots for the Cardinals, so he could move out there a couple times of snaps per game if necessary. Look, Allen's not a bad player. Not at all. This is a guy that I think is very talented, would be an upgrade to your defense. But if you're making me choose between one or the other, if I can only pay one of those defensive linemen, I'm taking Javon Hargrave every time over Zach Allen as far as I'm concerned. So you look at the resume. I know that Zach Allen is a younger guy. I mean, you go back to 2019, he was a third-round pick out of Boston College. The games that he's played the last couple of years, 27 starts in those 2 years. But his career numbers, 138 tackles, 11.5 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries, and 1 interception. I mean, that's like what Javon Hargrave's had in an entire season. And that's what Zach Allen has taken his entire career to get to. So while we talk about the flexibility that Zach Allen brings to the table, like we showed you a few moments ago, it just doesn't, move the needle as much as I think a guy like Javon Hargrave does. Zach Allen you'll take, but I'd rather have Javon Hargrave personally myself. Should the Seahawks sign Zach Allen? What do you think about that possibility of bringing in Zach Allen from the division rival Arizona Cardinals over to the Seattle Seahawks? If you think they should, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. What do you think about that possibility? Zach Allen, Seattle, let me know in the comment section below. You can interact with me on social media, whether that's on the Twitter or the Instagram at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Seattle Seahawks there. Plenty more offseason coverage. I'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today. Okay, so Zach Allen. That was interesting. Javon Hargrave, obviously the sexy name involved.
Allen-heavy show today. A lot of Allen.
A lot of Allens on today's show.
A lot of Allens.
Javon Hargrave, what do you think, Chugsy? Hargrave in Seattle, you like that?
I mean, I like him, but I'm telling you, he's going to be the most expensive defensive tackle on the market this free agency period. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow. I mean, we have Daron Payne as well. I see a lot of people asking about Daron Payne in the comment section. He's another one. I think him and Javon Hargrave are going to both be, I'm not going to say totally break the defensive tackle, where they get paid, but I think they're both going to be asking for a lot of money.
1023 FFG. It is we got one segment to go, and people still don't understand. We're talking about
the quarterback.
The other Josh Allen, not the damn quarterback. How many times do I have to say this, people?
We already have Geno. Why would we trade for Josh Allen?
Goodness. Oh, my gosh. My goodness. Should the Seahawks sign Javon Hargrave? Seems like the consensus is yes.
And we have a couple super chats to get to.
Let's catch up on these, shall we?
Two that we're going to get outside the mailbag, and then the rest we're going to do during the mailbag.
I love the energy. DK song, not so much. Park the DK song. I think we actually had to pay off the DK song a couple different times of some $5 super chats.
Well, you see, this was a super chat that happened right after.
I love the energy in the DK song. 1, 2, 3. Chomping, carols chomping. Geno passes, no one stopping. DK. Touchdowns all day. He rolls.
And then this one from Mr. Kane.
Mr. Kane, leaving work but sending support. Love the channel. Mr. Kane, we love you. You are a real one. Salute to you, my friend.
And Kyle and John, we're going to get to y'all's during the mailbag. But just a reminder, there's still some spots open if you want to get a question in.
Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. Super Chatting is the only way to guarantee getting on said mailbag. There we go.
Chomping.
Use hashtag Seahawks or a Super Chat if you want to skip the line. We are currently, let's show the Super Chat menu, by the way, real quick, before we get to said mailbag. Okay, 1023. How many goddamn times do I have to tell you? We're not talking about that Josh Allen, Okay? We're talking about the defensive player, Josh Allen. Did you check the thumbnail on the video, for goodness sakes? Good grief. All right.
So the Buffalo Josh Allen.
We are $110 away from taking down Das Boot. $100 gets you a spot on the Boot Hall of Fame. $10, we take a shot. $5, we do the DK song. I think I owe a couple of shots. I'll drink those before we start the mailbag. $5, we sing the DK song. $10, ask us anything. Any super chat, we'll take we'll give you a shout out.
A couple people asking, why would you trade for Josh Allen? Mahomes is a lot better.
Oh, man. I hope everybody's having a good day.
Hope you're
Gosh.
having a good day.
Hope you're having a good day. Oh, about mailbag time here. I'll take one more shot, and then we'll get to the mailbag. By the way, 10:23. Did you figure it out by now? The Josh Allen we're talking about.
K-Soon, you do have to admit Josh Allen's a good quarterback.
We're not denying. No one ever said that Josh Allen wasn't a good quarterback.
Do you think that you could trade for Josh Allen with the number 20 overall pick?
Maybe, yeah. Straight up, 20th pick for Josh Allen? Yeah, who says no?
He wasn't able to get it done in the playoffs this year.
Right.
In the AFC?
He won as many playoff games as Geno did.
Yeah.
So,
Both of them.
Yeah. Elijah, I see your $5 super chat. We'll get to that in the mailbag, too.
Chomping, carols chomping.
Geno passes, no one stopping. DK. Touchdowns all day. He rules. All right.
All right.
Mailbag time.
All right.
Our final segment.
All right.
All right.
Mailbag.
Mail sack.
Ooh.
We're going to show you our mail sack today.
TV 14 television right here. This isn't your local CW show.
No. Let's touch our mail sacks.
1023 wants to know Will Levis or Josh Allen.
I can't deal with 1023. 1023, you have worn me out today, my guy. With this, I don't know if 1023's been trolling or if he's been serious about that Josh Allen question.
You ready?
I think so. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, mailbag time. Let's get after it. Mailbag time here on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. You have questions, and you're in luck. I have answers. We will get to those here in just a few moments. It's part of our live show where you can super chat us, get to the front line, or you can use the hashtag Seahawks. And I got to tell you about a feature on this show. You may not be able to join us on our live shows and want to still support what we're doing. There is a way to still be involved here, and it's super thanks from YouTube. If you want to shout out at any time, you can super thanks us, and you can go to click the thanks icon on videos and send us whatever you want, and we'll get you on the show. We certainly appreciate you guys' support. We do this show for you guys, and we'd love to show any appreciation. So if you want to get on the show and you want to support the show in any way, even when we're not live, give us a super thanks, and that's an easy way to get involved. Kyle with a $5 super chat writes in, what do you think of DTR from UCLA and or Max Duggan from TCU in the 6th or 7th to back up Geno? If we sign Geno, I think lock goes to Tampa. So UCLA's quarterback, Dorian Thompson, very athletic quarterback. I think that, he was a really good fit in Chip Kelly's system there at UCLA. Max Duggan from TCU had a breakout year this year. He ended up winning the Davey O'Brien Award. He was the Heisman runner-up. But I look at both these guys at the same problem. A lot of their game is not polished. They both need some work of some sorts. But you're not looking for Joe Montana when you're drafting a backup quarterback potentially. Yeah, I'm open to the possibility of those two guys as your backup quarterback behind Geno Smith. I think that the Bill Belichick approach has worked out really well in the draft where no matter what, you draft a quarterback at some point, and then they sit behind you, and either they turn into an asset that you can trade for, or they eventually turn into your starter. I think that's what you're looking at potentially. If you're the Seahawks, you have all those picks. I'm not opposed to a late-round quarterback selection as far as I'm concerned. But, Kyle, you make a good point. Between those two, I think I'd prefer Duggan as far as that goes. John from Australia with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my guy, John, for checking in to the live show. Says, sorry for joining late. No need to apologize at all. Did we overpay for Ballore? Nick Ballore, that is who John is referring to. And Nick Ballore, this is a guy that has been one of the few guys in the NFL that can play both positions, right? At the fullback spot and the linebacker position. And as far as I'm concerned, just with that flexibility he provides, I don't think it was an overpay. I think the Seahawks knew exactly what they were doing with the contract that he makes, quite frankly. So, John, thanks for the super chat there, but I wouldn't call it a overpay there with that one on Nick Ballore as far as that goes. Thanks for the super chat. The next one we'll get to is a $5 super chat from Elijah. Should we trade for Ed Oliver? I remember when Ed Oliver was coming out of Houston, hometown of Jeremy Chugs, by the way. He was supposed to be better than sliced bread. Okay? I mean, he was supposed to be all that in a bag of chips coming out of Houston. And he has had a good career, but not a great career. Not earth-shattering. Okay? And so, for me, he would fill a need, but it all would depend on what exactly you're giving up potentially for Ed Oliver. I mean, you look back at what he had last year, 2.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 1 fumble recovery, 1 forced fumble. I mean, am I giving up, a day 1 or day 2 pick for him? Probably not, but it just depends on what the trade situation is going to be for Ed Oliver, what you're going to give up. I don't think that's a bad idea, but I'm not going to break the bank to try to bring in Ed Oliver because he hasn't lived up to the potential what he was expected to be as far as that goes. The Passmaster with a $5 super chat. Thank you for sending that in. That means the DK song. Chompin', carols, chompin', Geno passes, no one stopping. DK, touchdowns all day. He rules. Can you name where that song is based off of? The Passmaster writes, just stopping by, brothers. Thank you, Passmaster. I think Wagner should bail on the Rams and come home. He deserves to retire here, in my opinion. Keep up the great work. I think we all can admit that letting go of Bobby Wagner was a mistake. Bobby Wagner is as good as any linebacker in the NFL right now. That was a decision I think the Seahawks regret to this day. But even with that said, he took that personal. He was not happy with the Seahawks organization, how that all went down. In the games they played against Seattle, he was saying that he had something to prove. And I don't think that relationship is good between those two sides right now. I think one day, he'll retire a Seattle Seahawk, whether it's a one-day contract or come back to finish the very end of his career. But I don't see him coming home right now. I think there's just too much bad blood by the way things ended last year. Jerry writes in, should we sign Robert Woods? He just got released. Robert Woods, I think, would be very fascinating, potentially for the Seattle Seahawks to sign. And you look at the Seahawks and where their situation is. You have DK and Tyler Lockett as your top 2 receivers, but you don't have an established number 3 receiver. Robert Woods, his time in the sun as a 1 or a 2, I think, is kind of past. But I would love Robert Woods as your number 3 option. I'd take him any day over Marquise Goodwin or anybody that's on the Seahawks roster. I mean, you look at last year, 90 catches, or back in 2020, rather. He had 90 catches, 6 touchdowns. 2019 had over 1,100 yards and 2 touchdowns. If he could stay healthy and if he could be your number 3 receiver, sign me up for that. I think, though, there's going to be other teams that line up for Robert Woods, so it might not be so cheap potentially But if that's the route you want to go, I am not opposed at all to signing Robert Woods as far as I'm concerned. Be real with me in the comments section. What is the biggest need for your Seattle Seahawks in 2023? Let us know in the comments section. Tell us what you think the biggest need is for Seattle in the comments section below. My guy Jaime checking in with a massive $25 super chat. My guy, thank you, Jaime. That means we're about halfway to the boot, about 75 away from Das Boot. Need birthday wishes from my favorite crew that covers the Seahawks like no other. Go Hawks. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jaime. Happy birthday to you.
Spam HBD.
Spam HBD in the comments
Let's
for
go.
Jaime. We love it. We love it. What's the, Jeremy, what's the other version of happy birthday that you do?
Happy birthday from all of us to you. Happy birthday from the Seahawks crew.
Hey, happy birthday, Jaime. Hopefully the Seahawks can get you plenty of dubs this offseason. If you're watching on the live show, trust me, we'll get back to the super chat here in just a bit. But thank you for that, Jaime. K-Soon, who is not a fan of our DK song, by the way, says, dump Geno and trade for Josh Allen. Well, K-Soon, I don't think it quite works like that. We talked earlier in the week about the Seahawks bringing in Josh Allen, the one from the Jags, not the Bills quarterback. I think you would have to line up. I don't think Josh Allen is leaving Buffalo anytime soon, and he would have a number of suitors if for whatever reason they wanted to move on. So, no, that didn't happen. Sorry, K-Soon. Robert says, draft a center, a defensive tackle, a corner in the second round so you can still get a QB. Not a bad possibility, for sure. It certainly would take some areas of need. Remember, you have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. So, yeah, Robert, not opposed to that one bit, that possibility. Thank you, Robert, for that comment there. Chris says, nice last name, Chris. What do you think about signing Lavonte David? So here's what's interesting about Lavonte David, okay? He's, like 33 years old? And usually when you pay for a linebacker that's that old, that's usually the type of move that gets GMs fired when you're paying an aging linebacker. But the Seahawks have a need at the linebacker position. And Lavonte David, at this point in your career, why would you not want to play for a good team, a contending team like this Seattle team is? You might be able to make that marriage work. Not a long-term deal. I think you're talking short-term, but something that I don't think you're opposed to at all. To me, I would be all in favor of a short-term type deal for Lavonte David. Not too long. You fill a need, and you see what he's still got left in the tank. Because he's coming off, even at as old as he is, still had over 120 tackles last year. And if Jordan Brooks is going to be out for a while, which we still don't know what his status is, if he's going to be gone for a minute, you need other guys to pick up the load collectively. It's not a one-man band.
PFF.
PFF seems to love Lavonte David. He had a grade, 89, which was just fantastic. One of the highest grades of any player in the league. So, Lavonte David, yeah, I like the short-term prospects. I don't like the long-term prospects of signing Lavonte David. Y for yes, in for no. Should the Seahawks do so? Let us know in the comment section below if you'd like to see him in a Seahawks uniform. Jimmer writes, do you think we should use our first-round picks for defensive players? Jimmer, that's what I would lean towards, but it all depends on the situation, how the board works out for you. If there's guys that you can't pass up on, whatever it may be, I think you have to play the situation as it may be. I think you think that going in, but it all just depends, quite frankly, as far as that goes. But, Jimmer, it's a good question. Got some shirts that we're selling. They're on sale now. The Seahawks in the old AFC throwbacks, whether it's the short sleeve or the long sleeve, we got you covered with shirts, the combo on sale now. 2 for 1 for over 25% off right now at chatsports.com/Seahawks combo. Get yours today. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks combo. Mr. Biggs 11 writes, outside of Geno in the draft, who's your number 2 option? So if let's base it on that scenario. If Geno's gone for whatever reason and you can't draft a quarterback, so at that point I'm stuck to trades or free agency. Aaron Rodgers, I guess. I mean, I don't want to have to go with Jimmy G. I don't want to have to go with Derek Carr. I guess it'd be Aaron Rodgers then. If I can't have Geno and if I can't have somebody in the draft, I mean, Lamar Jackson, I think the price tag is going to be too high. I think with Aaron being older, his price tag is going to be lower than Lamar's is. Aaron would probably be my answer if you're not going to let me have a quarterback in the draft or let me keep Geno. K-Soon writes, Tanner Muse played great at linebacker and can help coming back. I wouldn't use the word great. I think that might be a little aggressive to say great, but he played solid, considering he didn't begin the year on the active roster for the Seahawks. Remember, he was promoted from the practice squad. But Tanner Muse, I was very impressed with, all things considered. He'll be back, and we'll see what he can do. Still flying. Signed David Montgomery or Miles Sanders, both free agent running backs. If you guys know me, you know I hate the idea of giving second contracts to running backs. David Montgomery and Miles Sanders have both had solid careers, but I'd rather go draft a young running back to be my number 2 than sign an aging veteran as far as I'm concerned behind Kenneth Walker. But nothing against those two guys. That's just not the way Tyler Jones operates. Subscribe to the channel. I'll tell you how I operate all the time here, talking about your Seattle Seahawks and what they should do as they approach this offseason with daily news and rumors. Also talking trades, free agency, the draft, and more. It's all in one place. We're covering this team like no one else does here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now. Doesn't cost you a single thing. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. G-Force says, should we sign Eagles guard Isaac Samalu? I got to tell you, Isaac was a very good football player. He's had a good year. The Seahawks certainly have a need with the inside lineman positions there, the guard spots in the center position. He's somebody I'd keep in mind. You also got Ben Powers as a possibility from Baltimore. Also Dalton Reisner from the Philadelphia Eagles there. So, yeah, something to think about for sure, bringing in Isaac as far as I'm concerned. We'll see. HH says, what are we doing at center? Great question. I don't know. I sure hope Austin Blythe isn't your starting center next year. The free agent market at center is not that great. I don't see them signing or making a trade at the center spot. I would expect Seattle to be drafting a center, and maybe Austin Blythe starts the year, but you hope to turn things over potentially. Center is really up in the air. I don't have a perfect answer for you. It's kind of a wait-and-see approach at this point. You can act with me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Seahawks there. I'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today. Thanks for joining us. All right. Jeremy Chugg's back here with me. Jeremy, I think we have some Super Chats to catch up on. That $25 Super Chat from Jaime. Jaime, happy birthday, my guy. Thank you,
Jaime.
What a way to celebrate your birthday than be here on Seahawks Today. And with that means we are halfway to Das Boot. But here's the thing, Jeremy. We're running out of time.
Yeah. I'm going to put a minute and a half on the clock.
90 seconds on the clock. We get a Super Chat. We stay on. Jaime, you're at $25. You are 75 away from a spot in the Boot Hall of Fame. What a way to celebrate your birthday than to be on the Boot Hall of Fame. Maybe everyone else in the chat could collectively come together and help Jaime get on the Boot Hall of Fame too. I'm open to all possibilities. $100 gets you a spot in the Boot Hall of Fame. Jaime is 75 away. And we are also 75 away from Das Boot. So think about this, Jaime. $75. And you're getting on the Boot Hall of Fame and getting the boot. That seems like a good deal, Jeremy. So 90 seconds on the clock. We get a super chat. Thank you, Tex, for your help. We get a super chat. We stay on. Otherwise, we sign off and call it a day. Name a player. Name some players you want the Seahawks to draft this year. Jeremy, who comes to mind? Who would you like to see in a Seahawks uniform?
They could draft Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Brian Bresee. I really like Drew Sanders. Just if they could draft all those guys, Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr., I think that would be a good draft for them.
I think so. I think you're absolutely right about that.
The safety out of Bama.
Yes, Brian Branch.
Yeah.
Brian Branch.
They can just get all of those guys.
Just get all of them. Find roster spots, one way or the other.
We need an expansion team so they can have a expansion draft. I've never seen one.
I am not old enough to have seen an expansion draft either. There's the timer.
Kind of scared me. I forgot about it.
Yeah. Ryan says, hi there. Hi there, Ryan.
All right.
I'll take a minute to let YouTube clear because we've been burned by that in the past where we tried to leave and somebody sent a super chat after the stream ended. So we'll give it a second to let the stream clear. Otherwise, we will sign off and we will call tonight and be back here with you next Wednesday. Same time, same place, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific for Seahawks Today Live. We also have our news and rumors vids that will go out throughout the week as well, so you can stay tuned to the channel there. And you can follow us on social media. Jeremy, we're always plugging my social media. Where can people find you?
At Jeremy Chugs.
Simple as that.
It's that easy.
And it's got, like, you have just your face there.
It's just my face. It's just my face.
I love it. Follow Jeremy. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today Live. We'll see you next week.